Alrighty, everybody. Finally have arrived. Sorry for the lateness by about 3 minutes, I guess. Whew. Energy is energy. There's always something going on, but it's always interesting. And definitely for sure, it's a graduation of sorts. So I am now here. Okay, everything is working just right. So what I want to say here is that I'm happy to be here today. I hope you are. This is a glorious time that we are living in, even though it appears to be more than what we can imagine that's going on at any given time. Today's subject matter, and it's interesting, I'm always seems to be lately, the last couple of hours, 12 hours, 24 hours before showtime, title comes to me, right? But today is you are an amazing creative spirit. You are an amazing creative spirit simply because you are. So it's a way of saying that we don't have to um, work so hard on ourselves. We work on ourselves and make the necessary changes for ourselves in our lives, but we don't have to overdo anything. We don't have to push ourselves with all the energy in my eyes, all the energy that's going on in this world. We do not need to become overwhelmed by anything because there is so much that is happening in the world that there are things that are allowing us to feel better and be better. And so when we notice these changes, one of my spiritual daughters, she's in Daejeon, South Korea. She's been there since I think 2008, and that's long before, a couple of years before I came here. And she had just asked me, Dad, how do you know when you're like feeling like you're in a different dimension or someone else is? I said, well, you can't always recognize when someone else is, but you can recognize some of the signs with yourself. So one of the signs with yourself is that you definitely feel lighter emotionally and mentally in the beginning. And then eventually you feel lighter physically. You feel like there's a big weight off your back. Then you might notice when you look in the mirror at yourself, you look a little different than you did before. Because, we can use a mirror to reflect what's in our auric field around ourselves and what's behind us. So we'll notice that there's a shift that's going. Then there's that other feeling where you kind of feel like you're phasing in and phasing out. That's kind of funny. You see that in the movies, like a phasing in and a phasing out. So you'll see things around yourself look hazy and then don't look hazy. And you're not having a problem with your eyesight. It's the actual energy within your auric field that's shifting. And so you begin to see or notice the shift. Now, at times, you may not be able to explain that shift to other people. They may not understand what's going on with yourself, but that's okay. You don't have to explain. You will be able to explain that, of course, to other people who are around you, who understand it. Then there's another way. You might feel that you don't need any sleep. If you're a person that's been sleeping on the average at a certain time during the day. Let's say you go to sleep at 10, 11 o'clock at night or even earlier, and then you get in that full 8 hours sleep. So now you up at 7 a.m. if you went to bed at 9. You go to bed at, let's say, 11 o'clock. Now you're going to be up at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. You go to bed at midnight, you're going to get up like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, depending on what your schedule is like. Well, there will be a time when you can't tell the difference between one day to the next. Many of us have been feeling that. Can't feel from one day to the next, at least for the past 2 years. There's some kind of shift going where the day that you're currently in, like today is Thursday, it don't feel like Thursday to me. Today feels like Monday. I mean, the last couple of weeks, I've been feeling like I'm going back up the calendar instead of forward. Or other times, I'm with maybe some friends and I'm having a great time out here. And the entire day feels long to us. And probably only been around each other two hours, but the entire day that we've been around each other, it feels like it was a long time, long stretch. Then there's energy with you where you sleep less. In other words, you are up out of a so-called 24-hour period. Maybe you are up 20 hours. And in between, you may have taken a nap, slept for about an hour or two, got up, didn't notice anything, but just noticed you slept for an hour or two. But you have this surge of energy. Or sometimes you go to sleep at your regular time and you wake up and you feel a little groggier than usual. But each time you feel lighter, you feel different. So this is sometimes how you know there's a shift in the dimensional energy around you. And we all have something called the torus field, Torus. Think of like how the man-made globe was made. And you see the longitude and the latitudes, right? So the ones that are going vertical, I think those are the longitudes. The ones that are going north and south. Well, you got these lines running throughout your body like a polar energy out of your spine, top your spine and the base of your spine, going all the way around your body. That's your torus field. And that torus field is spinning one way, and then there's an inside field spinning another way, and then the overall field spinning that way, and then you got another field of energy that's going diagonally, and another one that's going. So you got all of these almost like the sign of the atom with the molecules on track. You're sort of like that. You got all of this stuff going on. So I titled this "You Are." You are an amazing, creative spirit because you are a spirit. You are a spiritual sentient spirit that goes by what you're feeling and sensing and perceiving, and therefore you're interpreting information all the time. We just don't pay attention to the fact that we're interpreting, observing, receiving information all the time. If we could slow our breath down, our breathing process down, we could get to a point where we would notice things look clearer to us, quieter to us, or have slowed down. We would notice the changes, the current of energy rolling around the body, the biomagnetic energy that we have flowing around our body. We would notice a change. And it wouldn't be hard to go, something is happening. I feel like something in the distance is happening. It's like that phrase I used to hear when I was in college, a butterfly flapping its wings in a tropical forest. And because the power of the flapping of the wings could cause a rippling effect in that tropical region that can affect other areas miles away from it, which could be currents of energy that's affecting bodies of water and the winds and the rains. to the point where something immense happened based on something minute happening. It's an interesting effect, even if it's big on one end, but as it's further its extension someplace else, a little rippling effect. But we, as these amazing creative spirits, can detect that if we allow ourselves to. And how could you allow yourself to be this amazing creative spirit? Well, as a spirit, you have your own infinite divine sources and resources of intelligence, of knowing, of being, of establishing, of seeding, feeling, thinking, doing, having. You have these qualities, these attributes that allow us to open doors for ourselves in different ways. Not just outside, not just externally, but internally, to be able to go within. You are creative because you create from time to time, moment to moment. We're not just creating today's moments, but today is based on creative thinking processes from yesterday to several days ago to several weeks ago, several months ago, several years ago. This one particular day. Because we have thought and analyzed and felt this day numerous times without thinking that that's what we're doing. We just think it's a passing thought. But sometimes if we are quote unquote woke enough, we realize, hey, I've seen this image of myself doing this. And I remember 3 years ago, I wasn't doing anything on my computer of this magnitude. But now I'm finally doing it. It's not just one time, there's an accumulation of times. That's why you are an amazing creative spirit, because you have worked yourself through the maze of your own brain, which is internal, your own internal labyrinth, to the external labyrinth of your life. And you realize you're not bound by the labyrinth. You don't have to follow the path of the labyrinth. People say, hey, you're not supposed to cut across. I remember someone told me that one time. You're not supposed to cut across. I said, well, I'm bored. I don't need to get to the center because inside myself, I'm already centered. So me going through this to get to the center, all I'm doing is picking up everybody else's thoughts about getting to the center. Walking the path to get to the center. All I have to do, pay attention to how I'm actually feeling. And if I had paid attention before, I wouldn't have not got into the labyrinth, which is getting into someone else's mind. Or the labyrinth should represent the universal mind, plugging. I'm already plugged in. So it's learning to follow that first thought, that first impression. So when you are an amazing creative spirit, you are a spirit who creates what? Mazes. By design. Patterns by design. Amazing could be all mazes or a distinctive maze. But you become aware nonetheless that you are in the mindset of a creator. And that your thoughts, after that your words, after that your actions, after that your deeds. So all these things are coming from you. They're coming internally. One of my spiritual sisters here said, you're not downloading, you're uploading. If you think of it, that makes perfect sense. You're not downloading, you're not bringing something from up to down, because metaphysically speaking, you have everything. So if you have everything, then that means you are uploading, right? There's a part of you that releases and lets these impressions, these thoughts, these feelings, these experiences come to the surface within you. And now you are in awe or amazed of what you see and what you experience. Because whatever you see out here, which is what you want to see out here, happens to be already happening internally. Let's say, for an example, chess players. Chess players have learned the task of offense and defense so well that they still have to go look up a particular defense plan and a specific offensive plan. And they do have to look at how these plans were responded, how they were initiated, and how they were responded to by the various chess masters in the world. And then they begin to see a percentage of what may work or not work. But one thing for sure, there's always a plan. There's never a time that the chess master is without a plan. There's always a plan. There's always a way in and always a way out. And most will say patience is the key. You have to wait sometimes. You just set the plan in motion, but you can't attack. You must wait and wait and wait. So each move might be thought out 3 moves, 4 moves ahead of time. You can't forget the pattern of the moves. Neither can you forget the pattern of the responses to the moves. So therefore, a chess player is a creative, an amazing, creative person, spirit, being. Simply because they recognize the fact that they are. Simply. They don't have to be anything else. Simply be themselves. They don't have to go into big, unabridged chess master manuals and say, I'm going to be like this guy here. Or I'm going to be like a Bobby Fischer. No, you ain't got to be like anybody. You just have to design plans for yourself and try them out and make sure they work. And the only way you can make sure they work is to execute the plan. So as an amazing creative spirit, every day you are executing a plan. Even if your plan is to do absolutely nothing at all, just be lazy, you're executing that plan to do nothing at all and just be lazy. Or just relax. Or just read a book. Or go for a walk, or bicycle, or drive, or swim. Or cook yourself a meal, make breads, do whatever you feel like doing. But taking a moment, because you simply can, you can simply make the choice to do or not to do. And because you can do that, that in itself calls for you to recognize yourself as an amazing creative spirit. So sometimes we are flowing through a process that we have created. That process turns into what? An habitual thing, right? Because now it's a part of us and we like it and we're doing it over and over and over. And we can continue to do that because it feels comfortable. But then we understand too, you can't do too much of the same thing because they say you fall into a rut. That means other people say you fall into a rut, but not necessarily. I once heard that a person said, yeah, if you use the word career goes back to meaning a rut. The wheel's just spinning and you're not going anywhere. So you have a career that takes you nowhere, but you can take that career and open it up so it takes you somewhere. But it's not the career taking you somewhere, it's you taking yourself somewhere. So you're not allowing yourself to sit in the form of limitations. You're not allowing yourself to do that, because if you sit where there's limitations, then eventually you become bored. You become trapped by boredom. You become trapped by finding yourself making the same mistakes all over again, rather than realizing a mistake is a mistake. You took the wrong action at the wrong time. Or it could have been late. It could have been a delayed reaction. Or you tried to make it a delayed reaction, but it just didn't work. So we have to go within ourselves, go within the mind, and we have to find out, what is it that I need to let go of? What is it that I need to release, so I could look at myself and understand that I am an amazing, creative spirit. So when we get to that point, when we recognize that we are that creative, that it's amazing. In other words, it's awesome. It's a light bulb has turned on. You realize something. As I said in my previous talks, you realize what? You realize that you have value. And when you realize that you have value, then you don't have to seek validation from anybody. I remember when I was growing up, I always used to turn to my brother. And this is when I was like already an adult still. I saw my brother, this fantastic professional jazz musician, Broadway show, drummer, all this stuff. And I was just getting out there, just getting into the numerology, coming out there. And that's when I met my buddy Lloyd Strayhorn. I'm just now starting to come out. I'm not in the closet doing it. I'm coming out, right? And I used to look at my brother and some of his friends for validation. And then I realized a few years later, 10 years, what am I doing? I'm the one doing this full time. Yeah, my brother does it, but not full time. So I don't need to go to him for validation. I need to come back to me. And how would I validate what I'm doing? All I got to do is ask my customers, ask my clients, how am I doing? Do you feel comfortable with me? Do you feel the information is good that I'm coming up with you, that it's well thought out, it makes sense, and blah, 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 blah. And the clients and the students would tell me, would begin to validate. And then now I'm doing it almost 50 years. The past 20 years, I don't need to go to anybody. Because anytime I'm doing something, one of my phrases used to be, if I'm not doing it right, I'm not going to sleep well at night. I'm going to be awake. I'm going to realize, okay, there's something I did that put me off track, off beat. And now I got to find out what that is, or how to get back on track. Or I have to come to a point where I say, I don't need to worry about all of this extraneous stuff. I don't need to worry about any of that. That takes no precedence in my life. I don't have to have that. All I need is to have the basics, the basic system of what I'm doing, and build on it, and build on it, and build on it, and build on it, and build, and be comfortable and dance with it. I never knew that I would be a writer, but I remember I used to write articles, whether it was from Lloyd or from other people, way back in the 80s, 1980s. I didn't have to worry about what I was writing about, because I would just write from my heart. Writing from my heart was one of the best things to do. And what am I doing now? I don't have any notes for any of these things. I'm talking from my heart. My heart is opening the door, the lock. I come up with a subject matter in meditation. Last 12 hours. I don't know how I'm going to talk about that because I don't have any notes. But my higher self comes in and says, you don't need any notes. You have experienced everything that you are going to talk about and have talked about. You just have to shut up the ego, put the ego aside, and sit quietly And you can do a guided meditation on yourself, seeing yourself sitting down quietly, meeting with your higher self like you've done, or shield up and out and just wait. But relax. Don't analyze. Don't doubt. Don't set anything up in your mind that will create stagnation and mobilization. Just be ready to open and release. Open and release. Open, release, and receive. Open, receive, and release. It's all energetic. Now I can sit here comfortably because I know the first couple of words out of my mouth is being governed by the higher self. That's who's doing this. And I get a chance to sit front row seat, like many of you, and listen to what I'm saying and realize it's okay. I'm in tune. I'm plugged in, and I can feel this energy not come down, but come from the inside up and out of me. And how does it feel? It feels nice and warm. That's how it feels. I feel nice and warm and relaxed, not a tense bone or muscle in my body. That's how we know that you're in touch with the spiritual side of yourself. That's how you know that you will be all right. That's how you know in the midst of a storm in your life, somehow you know you will be all right. So, everyone, you are an amazing, creative spirit. You have the power to create just like divine source, infinite self creates. You are a infinite reflection, like all of us are infinite reflections. We are the infinite thoughts within the mind of the divine mind in the universe that has it all. And this includes every tree, every ant, every other insect you might like or don't like, every dog, every cat, every other animal out on the earth, and even the beautiful ones we don't see that we're starting to see across the internet. Beautiful butterflies, magnanimous wings, where the one wings look like two serpent heads. Hey, something is creating something that's causing something to be creative, causing something else to be creative that can create. And we just going for the ride. We are in awe because it's all amazing. So I want to end this. Some of these talks I've been doing, I've been ending them in a very light kind of meditation. You are an amazing creative spirit, and the first thought that comes to my mind is everyone watching this see themselves playing an instrument. Doesn't matter. You don't even have to know how to play it. Just see yourself playing a violin or a cello or a flute or a piano or a saxophone or drums, or see yourself as a modern dancer or a ballet dancer. See yourself as an artist. You don't have to be this in the physical world. Just become it in your mind. See yourself. And as you see yourself do this, I want you to inhale upon the beauty of the image that you could feel within yourself. And as you inhale and then exhale, the exhalation is you sharing that thought with the world, that amazingness with the world, awesomeness coming from you into the world around you. As you inhale, you are embracing this infinite part of yourself that's so infinite you can't hold it anyway, but you, like a child, embrace it. As you exhale, you're sharing more of that unconditional part of yourself, the unconditional love, with the universe. at large, the most infinite part. As you inhale again, you relax into it and become. Become an amazing, creative spirit who is infinite. Simply because you are. Being gratitude to that. If it gels with you, allow it to be. If it doesn't, turn off the channel. Be grateful to yourself. Be grateful for where you're at. Be thankful for where you're at. Assume nothing, like Miguel Ruiz says, assume nothing in the Four Agreements. Don't assume a thing. Speak with impeccability, but don't assume anything. Don't take it personal. And what was step 4? All the other 3. Repeat. Be impeccable. Be honest with yourself. Have integrity. Don't assume anything, right? Don't take anything personal. And then do all of the above. Just be you. And in the process of being you, simply because you can, you will recognize your awesomeness, your amazing, creative spirit self. Thank you for tuning in today. I'm Brother Francis. This is Wisdom Keys with Brother Francis. I will be here next Thursday. That will be the 9th of September at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 12 p.m. Pacific, which is 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow will be Swanda, the wonderful Michelle Swanda. Michelle is the owner of Resident Essentials, and she will be on tomorrow at 12 p.m. Mountain Time, and her subject will be judgment. And of course, those of you who live out here in Albuquerque, we won't be open Saturday the 4th through Monday because that's all of the Labor Day weekend, but we'll be back open on Tuesday, September the 7th. So if you live out here and you want to get some consultations done, be sure to pop on in today and tomorrow, okay? Between 12 p.m. I think 12 and 4 or 12 and 5, and get your consultation on. All right. Hopefully Monday, well, Monday is Labor Day, so we won't be open, and we won't have a broadcast from the UK from Audrey Wilson. Tuesday should be Donna of Dominion Tarot on the 7th, giving us some good insight at 12 p.m. Well, anyway, you have a pleasant day, a pleasant tomorrow, a pleasant weekend. To all my friends, peace be with you. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you soon.